And we're live. I want to welcome everybody for joining us tonight on Royce in the House. And I want to introduce my wonderful host, co-host, Dan, Just the Facts Man, next to me. Caddy corner to me is Lou Mars. Lou Mars Books, multi-instrumentalist, fantastic musician. We can't wait to hear some of his new songs that I'm not going to say much about tonight. And next to him, directly below me, is Michael Nolan, the bottom line, who I consider the king of podcasters. And I'm so glad that he comes on our show with us. It gives us credibility. Let me put it that way. No, Michael is fantastic. He's recovering right now. He had a little procedure done, and he's doing very well. And we're all really happy for him. But okay, tonight's show, this is going to be a really fun show tonight because it's on songs that have been banned for one reason or another over the years. And I got a little story to tell. I told it to Dan before the show started. And what happened to me today, I was in a grocery store and I heard a song playing. I looked at my wife and I said,
I don't know if anybody...
Huh?
What's that, Michael?
Guys, I'm not coming through, or at least I'm not picking you up. I'm going to go ahead and shut down and see if I can reconnect.
Okay, go ahead and try that. Go ahead and try that.
I see. Well, can you see Michael?
Okay, so...
Michael, don't go yet.
What's that?
He was live. I just got confirmation. They could see him.
Yeah, but he couldn't hear us.
Oh, he couldn't hear us.
Yeah, there was something wrong with his sound. But anyway, the show tonight is going to be on songs that were banned. And I was just saying that I was telling Lou earlier before the show started that my wife and I were in a grocery store and a song came on. And I just shook my head and I looked at her. I said, this song needs to be banned. And it was a country song. And it was a country artist whining about being on the backside of 30 years old. I want to bitch slap this guy. This guy's whining about being on the backside of 30. Life is over for him. I mean, give me a break here, guys.
He's got some shocking shit coming up.
Yeah. I'd like to be back on the backside of 30. Those are some good times, man.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, let me say hi to some people in the chat. We've got Miss Oo and Caitlin and AJ Gum and Maria Day and all of our great people are here. And we really appreciate our crew here in the chat, our friends. And I want to start out. I want to bring up a song that's probably going to blow everybody's mind.
Wait, Royce, before you do that, I got to cap on something you just said because
go ahead.
Walsh just said a few days ago that he sure had a lot more fun in the 70s and his 20s than he's having in his 70s and the 20s. Truth, right? All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's quite all right. That's a good story. Anyway, this one's going to blow your mind. A song that was banned for a little while, or people were trying to ban it, and that's John Lennon's "Imagine." And the reason John Lennon's song "Imagine," which everybody loves, became so controversial because it was supposedly espousing communist ideology, like imagine there's no religion and no possessions. So people were down on it for espousing communist ideology. What do you guys think about that? Is that like crazy?
Well, I think he was probably one of the first people that thought about a global government. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's right, huh?
And I'm not a globalist.
No, not like that.
I don't know if I agree with Dan. I don't know if I agree with Dan on that one. And even if Dan is right, I don't want to believe that. I love John's facade of peace and love.
Same here.
I would like to believe that John honestly was actually just saying, wouldn't it be mind blowing if everyone really was just getting along?
That's exactly how I took the song. It never occurred to me. I mean, that thought crossed my mind just a little bit because that was a big deal back then.
Yeah. I get that. The big
probably like Cuban Missile Crisis almost era. The backdrop of that and Korean War and all that stuff. I could see where some super heavy duty conservative people might look at it that way.
Well, that's the way the hippies thought back in those days too. Just peace, love. You live in you live in paradise, but
we're all together, man.
Yeah, but paradise doesn't work unless somebody is supporting all that, and that means
that was the problem with the plan.
Right. No, that was the problem.
You got any food, man? No, I didn't kill a cow.
Yeah.
No, I didn't kill a cow.
Well, you know, another song, which was a very popular song by Tom Petty, "You Don't Know How It Feels." That was banned for a little while in some places because too many radio stations due to drug-related lyrics. You know.
Oh, well, we know that's happened a lot where bands were forced to change their lyrics on an, like I had too much to drink last night was changed.
Right.
Apparently,
right.
I had too much to dream. I believe it was at the Prunes, the Electric Prunes.
Right.
Why did that name get banned?
Right. Well, how about that great song by the Shirelles? Will you still love me tomorrow?
Go Royce.
That song got banned because it was encouraging one-night stands. You know, she had sex with somebody. Just want to know if he'll still love her tomorrow. Obviously, that wasn't a long-term relationship, so that song became a problem.
Well, there was that song in the 70s that they were saying had gay overtones with men. What was that one? The
Lola?
The one about the two sticks from Sky Rockets in Night.
Oh, yeah.
And
Afternoon Delight. That's right.
People were getting upset about it. I'm like, I didn't even get it. I'm like, why? It's about people, gay men in the afternoon getting together. I'm like, really?
That reminds me of the song too by Steeler's Will, "Stuck in the Middle with You."
Yeah.
My wife said when she was growing up, her mother would not let her listen to that song because it was about a threesome.
What?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So John Lennon's song gets all everybody pissed off because, oh my God, it's about possibly government and religion. So why doesn't Take a Walk on the Wild Side get people upset back then, right? Why did that get banned? Now, I'm not saying I'm anti, don't please the don't come after me on that shit. But why was that okay? Because that was upsetting back then. You couldn't come out of a closet back then. But here's a song straight up saying, "Hey, baby, take a walk." I mean, it clearly was about transgender.
Well, yeah.
Well, you got to remember back in those days too, saying something like that was kind of pushing the envelope, and that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to see how far they could push the envelope. And, he had a name, so I guess maybe they'll just let it slide because of who he was.
No different than Madonna rolling on a bed talking about being a virgin while she's, rolling around like a whore. I mean, come on MTV, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think also with Take a Walk on the Wild Side, they kind of got away with it because the general audience was a little bit, they were still catching up with the vernacular of the song as they heard it. I think the general listeners at the time were being educated with that song.
Nice angle.
Yeah, it was that was a weird hit though, Lou. You're right.
Yeah.
How did that all
Slip
of us,
in.
especially when you listen to it and know what that song's all about? It's like, talk about banning. That should have been an automatic ban, but nobody was up to code.
That was pretty cut and dry right there.
Well, it seems to me.
Well, it's like the Kingsmen's Louie Louie, right? I mean, the FBI investigated it and determined that the incomprehensible lyrics contained uncouth lyrics, and so they tried to ban it.
Well,
they couldn't even understand what it was saying.
Don't even know what they sang.
It was ban-worthy.
They mumbled through half that song. They could be anything.
They don't even know what they're saying.
I don't know. All I ever heard was Louie Louie, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Only Charo knows what they sang.
Well, Maria Day just mentioned that she said they got on Jimi Hendrix for singing "Excuse Me While I Kiss the Sky," and they thought he said "kiss this guy."
Oh, I was going to say God. But, I got a different thought in my mind. Here's what I've learned about this stuff so far. I'm going to throw this out and get in trouble right away. You can push the envelope on sex and maybe get away with it in music. But if you talk about government or religion, you're in trouble. And I'm going to cite my Exhibit A right now. 1987, not that long ago, folks, 88, 87, ban. XTC releases a song called Dear God. There is no foul language in that song whatsoever.
Oh,
There's no
No.
Satanism in that song whatsoever. It is clearly an opinion where an individual who wrote that song quite eloquently, actually, check out the lyrics, they're badass.
Right.
He just doesn't believe in God. That's it. That song was banned in half of our country. And part of our country, you couldn't even allow to buy it.
There's many songs that use the word God that are considered blasphemous. That were banned, or they tried to ban them, but they were partially banned.
I love the line in the song. He says, "Dear God, did you notice your name is a lot of quotes in this book? Us crazy humans wrote it. You ought to take a look." That's a brilliant line, whether you like it or not.
Okay, it's even like Madonna's "Like a Prayer." Even the Vatican got into the act.
Yes, yeah.
And it had blasphemous content.
I remember that.
Talking about prayers and stuff, you know.
Well,
and
it could be because, wasn't it? There's the imagery in the video might have been part of that. That was Madonna's gig, kind of like Lady Gaga. Their thing was the shock and awe to get value. You know, we've been doing
that. So I think the video condemned it more than the actual song, the lyrics, and the original intent. And Madonna, that's what she wanted to. That's what she's famous for, man.
She did a great job at it. She did. There were 3 artists that hit. I know it's at least gold. I'm not going to say platinum, but I believe it might have even been platinum. And I said this before. And this was an MTV gets credit for this. 3 bands never hit the stage yet and had made gold status with an album before playing live. Madonna was one of them. Tears for Fears was another one, and I believe the other one was either Aha or what was the guys that did Won't You Forget About Me, that song. What were those guys from they were big. They were a UK band.
I hear the song in my head.
Won't you forget about me?
Yeah, I know which one.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
but I believe it was Aha with Take Me On. But those bands, that never happened in our history before because it was impossible. How could you possibly sell an album without that kind of visual expression? So it worked. That stuff being banned. And speaking of banned, we talked about this in the green room. I'm not going to get political. This is not a political statement. Please, people, don't go political on this. But Reagan era, Nancy Reagan, man. Remember the black label? She was putting the black label on NWA, the lyrics. This had explicit lyrics.
That's right, huh?
And at first, as musicians, we were appalled. You're going to tell us and put a sticker to tell people not that they have to be 18 or older to buy my stuff. And then it became a trophy because if you got the sticker, your shit sold twice as well. They're like, give me that sticker, man. I'm going to say fuck just so I can sell 50,000 more albums, you know?
Well,
it's true.
Yeah, I was going to say, name a kid who won't have a cigarette if he wants a cigarette, right?
Yep.
I mean, you can ban cigarettes, you can, and they should be. I mean, I'm not for smoking or anything like that, but you tell a kid he can't have something. Oh boy.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
That's a whole game. You know, you gotta use your brain. You see the 3 Stooges hitting each other with hammers. You don't hit your head with a hammer. You know, what happened to our common sense? Now, let me ask you guys this. What do you think about the policing of music? I mean, that's what we're talking about.
It goes back to that whole thing with the entire entertainment industry, not just music, but movies and everything else, you know.
Art in general.
It's all about restricting all of it, and that's been an up and down topic for a long time, you know.
See, and it's very fluid too, depending on the times. I mean, you compare our standards today as to the standards that were in the 50s and the 60s, totally different. So it's got to be it's got to be fluid. It can't be something written in stone.
No. What word am I listening? What word am I looking for that subject of tightening the controls on the entertainment industry, whether it's song, movie,
just regulation,
something a little stronger than that, though.
Enforcement.
No, I think I know what he's thinking of. I'm trying to think of it too. I can hear it. It's a variation of the word banning.
Boycott.
Well, no, not quite that either. It's just about regulating. Basically, it's about regulating. But there's a certain word they use
Yes.
That's real unpopular with the entertainment industry.
Is it censorship?
Censorship? Yes.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over on the outside here.
Yeah.
Oh, someone in the chat.
Well, how about Eminem?
No.
Eminem came out with a song, "The Real Slim Shady," and it had a bunch of foul language in it and stuff. He was getting in all kinds of trouble. He cut all the foul language out of it, and the FCC listened and said, "Well, just the content alone is enough to have the FCC ban a radio station for playing this song," and they still kept it banned in some areas. I guess this isn't one of the areas, because I used to hear that all the time. But he got in trouble for that. And the Doors, "Light My Fire." He was going to go on the Ed Sullivan Show, and there's that part in the song that says, "Baby, we couldn't get much higher."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they said, "Do not play that part." And he got up there and he played that part.
He did it anyway. Yeah.
He got in all kinds of trouble.
Well, Mick Jagger was doing stuff. I mean, they got mad about him. Let's spend the night together.
Let's spend the night together. Absolutely.
Several shows he was hammered on, and
right. That was
sometimes
a
he did it,
biggie.
sometimes he didn't.
It's a suggested line. Let's spend some time together.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did he do it though,
yeah, yeah.
Michael? What was the story? Did he actually...
I thought he actually just said, "Screw it," and just
I thought
sang
so
it the
too.
way it was supposed to.
In the
They
last
got
minute,
away
because it
with
was
it.
live.
Yeah. Now with the Doors, I don't think I think they got what? They got one more Ed Sullivan appearance, but they were actually set up for like 6 or 7 future appearances, and that did them in.
Well, what do you guys
Right.
think about like when Lennon said the Beatles were more famous than God, and then they start burning the albums and so forth? Would that happen today?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So either. Yeah.
And I don't think Lennon meant it the way a lot of people took it.
I don't think so either.
He wasn't comparing. Well, he even said he wasn't comparing the Beatles to God. He just said, the Beatles were very popular. There's probably
He was
more
talking
people.
about the irony. I think he was talking about the irony.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. I know.
It was actually with an interview with Maureen. I forget her last name. First name Maureen, famous British rock interviewer, and it was just like a discussion interview, and he actually was kind of amazed to find that there in England at the time with the younger people, that the Beatles were bigger than God. He also connected that with the fact that there had been several articles written on how attendance with the church in England had dropped drastically with the young people. Maureen Cleave, by the way, was her name.
Yeah.
And Maureen had been bringing these things up in this discussion. So, of course, America got a hold of that and said the portion where we're bigger than God, and John spent the next 2 years apologizing. You know, it was horrible.
Well, I remember at least historically, I was a young kid in the late 60s, obviously, little taught. But you don't have to, a lot of people go, what do you know about music from that time? Well, if you love music, you check out music from all the decades. You go back, you go forward, you stay in tune. And what I learned from the late 60s is, even though I wasn't around to experience that wartime period, a lot of the musicians were stepping up to use their platform to be anti-war. They didn't dig that war. They weren't into it. They didn't feel it was fair. Their friends were going out there in the draft. And one of the things I thought was unusual was that in using, I know it's not war, but the last 2 years with COVID, a lot of the musicians were nowhere to be found. When they all got their schedules cut and just wiped out, nobody, and the few that did, got just hammered. Like Eric Clapton stood up, hey, screw this, I'm going to do a show.
Yeah.
Everyone, they beat him up so bad, then he backed off. He backpedaled. And same with Kid Rock. He spoke up. I'm going to play,
Yeah.
The musicians being all together against one common thing doesn't exist right now. And I'm bringing that up because what's a song that's being banned currently? Not really, other than we're being silenced. We're being silenced as a whole, and the musicians are playing along with it. I think we need to get back to stirring that pot is where I'm coming from. I think
I was going to say, Lou, you're right. It's not so much words and phrases or even entire sentences in songs that are being banned right now. It's what songs are about that may be the biggest band or ban ever. But here's the thing. We also, at that time, when all of these protest songs were going on and everything, I think the younger people had a more united front, and that even a lot of the older people were finding the war at least, I hate to say this, tedious, if not, you know what, they've got a good point on this thing. So the whole flavor of the country was a lot more united or ready to be united at that time than it is right now. We are so divided as a country. We have never been so divided as we are right now.
I agree. And I think music is usually one of the things that brings us together, and it's not happening. Not yet, at least. Not yet.
Yeah.
No, right.
Things are definitely different right now. It's just.
Hey, I want to point out that Michael, we should appreciate that he's here on the show today. The reason he's kicking back like he is, although we just had a challenge in the green room that I'm now going to take on, trying to be in a wilder place in a bed on the next show, is that God bless your health, Michael. Good to see you here, man. We know you just went through some things, and I just want to say we appreciate you being around.
We've been talking about, we've been talking about
I love
songs.
having Michael here. Michael to me is like, he's got one of the greatest podcasts, fastest growing podcast I've ever seen. And that speaks to content and how great of a guy he is and how good of a job he does.
And speaking of popular dudes.
Yeah. He is a popular dude. Yeah.
We're talking about songs being banned off the radio and everything. Now, what is the definition of ban? Are we talking government banning it or
no? It's a mixed bag. I made a big list and read through it a couple of times, and like for example, one of the songs in England was banned from The Wizard of Oz. It was like "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead," right? And it was banned by the BBC because Margaret Thatcher had just died, and they were playing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead." So the BBC banned it. So
are you saying
it's a mixed bag?
The government didn't ban the song. The BBC, meaning the licensing of
but there's but they're not as separate from the government as all radio stations are.
Yeah, but still, no, it's more of a mixed bag. Some songs will get banned temporarily. Some songs
isn't the BBC banned over the years. What hasn't they? That's like, I think one of the B's in BBC stands for banned, right?
It's like the FCC stands for. Oh, never mind.
There's somebody wishing you good health here, Michael. Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
Very nice, Dana. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Dan.
One of the songs I wanted to talk about that was banned was from the 1971. It's a band here in Fort Worth, a band called Blood Rock. Now, you older guys remember a song called DOA.
Oh, I know.
Dead on Arrival. Okay.
Dead on Arrival. And it's all about dying, in an accident. And it goes in very, very graphic detail about what's going on. He goes to move his arm and he looks and he sees it's not there. It really paints a picture in your head. And, I was 13 years old at the time when that song came out. And in the back of the song, it's also got sirens going off and scary, creepy music, and you hear all the descriptions in your head. When you're 13 years old and you hear that, it's pretty spooky. And I remember being on my paper route at nighttime, and that song would be going through my head, scare the hell out of me, But the thing is, there was back then a lot of radio stations wouldn't play that song, but there were a lot of radio stations that did, and they benefited from it because that song actually charted, and other radio stations lost out. So I know every radio station was pretty much had their own discipline as far as what songs would be played, what wouldn't be played.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sometimes it was just up to the radio station. Now I'm going to tell you that this guy is just a genius right here. Actually, I feel a little bad saying that because he's dead, but the Notorious B.I.G. The Notorious B.I.G. came out with the song "It's Time to Get Paid." Blow up the World Trade Center. Right after the World Trade Center was blown up. And needless to say, that song got banned like nobody's ever got banned, And I think that was like a real ban too, not just one radio station. Let me see what it actually says.
Well, that's almost a terroristic threat.
It was
again.
Still,
I'll say again. Now,
suffice to say, No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Royce, that's again a real sliver of time where we're talking about a real, whether we were right or wrong as a nation.
Correct.
We were all pretty much narrowly focused on a certain as to what was okay and what wasn't okay at that
I'm
time.
telling you, if somebody would have suggested the very next day, let's nuke the Middle East, I think the whole country would have supported it.
Certainly would have got an audience.
So
I would bet at least 50%.
This goes back to what I said earlier: religion, government, issues, sex. Okay, let's go with what I was asked one day by a teacher when I first got back to America from the Philippines. I was raised in the Philippine Islands, so I'm getting used to America. And the teacher has the balls, not knowing me well enough, say, I told her I had a 45 collection. For you young people, these were not guns. These were records with a hole in the middle that was bigger than a 33, which was the big circle one, okay? Just trying to help the young people. So young people, we had these smaller things, a little bit bigger than your CDs that were vinyl. And I had a collection even as a young guy because I love music, man. And I even listened back then. They had a song on one side and a song on the other. Now, you got to explain this, guys, because, not everybody knows what the hell we're talking about. So the teacher says, hey.
That's true.
Or this Lewis at the day, why don't you bring your 45s and play them to the class? I'm like, yeah. Little did she know, one of my favorites in my collection, two of them. One was My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry. I played the shit out of that. There I was walking across Turtle Creek. I'm holding this ding-a-ling. I played that full blast in my classroom. Looked over at the teacher, just like, what else you got? So I'm like, check
what
this
else
out.
You got?
Isaac Haze, Shaft. You're a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I was just talking about Shaft.
I'm just talking about Shaft.
That's good shit, but it wasn't banned. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't banned. Why not? Why wasn't Chuck? Here's a black man talking about holding his dick going into every part of the song, right? And it's okay.
Well, see, ding-a-ling.
About freedom.
Yeah, but ding-a-ling is a funny word, so
But it's his dick. It's his
I love that. I love that line in Shaft, though. They'd say that Shaft is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Shaft.
He's a bad mother. What?
I love that line.
What? Come on.
See, there they went pushing the envelope.
Buddy hears the word.
Yeah.
Okay, man, Rage Against the Machine got a teacher in a lot of trouble. He was teaching, I think it was New Mexico, pretty mixed, pretty mixed race there. And the name of the song was "Take the Power Back," and they say that
was it "Fuck You"?
That was creating problems,
tell me?
creating problems between the students.
See, there's another song. How did Rage get away with "Fuck You"? What did he tell me?
I don't know.
At a wedding I was at. I was like, this kid's walking around like, oh, shit. How did that happen?
Speaking of Rage Against the Machine,
there was a whole bunch that I think are really funny here. For example, Bobby Darin's "Splish Splash, I Was Taking a Bath" was partially banned because it was about a guy at a party who took a bath and walked out into the party nude. Splish Splash, I was taking a bath.
Wow, how they picked us. But the polka dot bikini girl, she's okay.
But she's okay.
Well, and also, when he performed that on TV, part of the contract required him to sing that in a bath fully clothed.
Oh, did it really? I didn't hear that. That's great.
Actually, I just saw something on that on the internet not too long ago.
And it's funny, nobody had a problem on Sesame Street when Ernie was singing "Rubber Ducky in the Tub."
And we are still questioning.
Well, they didn't say vinyl ducky. They said rubber ducky. Okay?
It's like those are the first gay puppets.
Well, how about Olivia Newton-John's "Physical," which in the video showed two girls holding hands? So that created quite a stir at the time.
Yeah, and then you had what's her name with Cannonball trying to really, naked on a giant ball. Oh, there's the other side where people tried to try.
Miley
try too hard.
Yeah,
they're trying too hard.
Right.
What's her name? Miley
Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus. That's right.
Miley, you're awesome. You don't need to
Cyrus on the wrecking ball. Wasn't a hard video to watch.
Yeah, well, it was boring.
No, I know it was.
You only watch a naked chick swing so many times, man. I'm sorry. No, okay, maybe not.
I don't know. Something about Miley Cyrus. Every time I saw her, I kept thinking of Billy.
AJ's making a really good point here. Many of these songs that were banned or they tried to ban wound up being huge hits before and after. So you're right,
Yeah.
AJ.
Sometimes, yeah. Well,
Thank
we
you.
were talking about Metallica a week ago. Was bigger. They had no radio airplay. Nobody played them, and their
Right.
following just so solid. You know, Led Zeppelin. Michael knows this. In the '70s, they weren't getting a lot of airplay, man. They were
No.
a big band. They didn't get a lot. They get more
But
airplay probably now than they did back then.
They didn't.
man.
They didn't always have a lot of singles, and a lot of the channels, the stations just played singles. Like
Yeah.
like Led Zeppelin 1 had no singles. A lot of people didn't even know there was a Led Zeppelin until Whole Lot of Love hit in '69. Same year Led Zeppelin 1 came out. They both came out the same year. Led Zeppelin 1 took 30 hours to produce because they've been doing.
I'm saying they weren't embraced fully on radio. Is my point. I don't feel they were fully
No, I
embraced
know.
on radio.
But what about Pink Floyd's Money? Now that was, expected,
Yeah.
it was back in the day that you don't have bullshit in a song. And so you hear this no good, do bull, bleep, and but guess what? When that happened, in that case, album sales increased dramatically.
Yeah, I
after
know that. Well, that's
that
like Nancy
single.
Reagan's
Yeah.
sticker.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
You always want when what you're not supposed to have.
Hey, I just saw
Right,
that pop
right.
up from Bob. I saw that Bob, I saw your pop up just now in the text. Do you know what the line was from the Louis song that got banned? If you got that, brother, look it up, put it up for us so we can see it. I want to know the line. Did you guys see that? A guy just said that Louis, there was a line that was removed. What the hell was the line? I couldn't even understand the shit there in that song, so I'd love to hear that line. Yeah.
Pretty incomprehensible lyrics. But another good one was, Bon Jovi had five
Mr. America?
5 top 10 singles on his album New Jersey.
Yeah.
And one of them was Living in Sin. And that actually got banned for a while because of
I didn't know that.
It was about a girl living with her boyfriend against her parents' wishes.
Dude's like apple pie. Jesus.
So
but now here's one that was banned.
I know.
We were talking about albums back we had a show earlier. And guys, people listening, if you missed this one, it's kind of cool. We did one about satanic stuff in albums. The devil maybe do it is the title of that one. Good show. Go check it out. One of the albums that we talked about was Black Sabbath. Overseas, the Black Sabbath debut album opens up. And it's got an upside down cross with the seance in it and lyrics from a song. There's an extra song also on that album called Evil Woman. And I listened to it. I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason, not only did they not allow the open album in America to be released, it was a single cover album. It did not open. And Evil Woman was forced to be removed on the album. So if you got an American version, that song is missing on the album. It's pretty interesting.
And wasn't that track actually a track that they recorded while they were still, what was their original name? Spirit Earth something?
Oh, man, you're good, Michael. Yeah.
And I had heard about that before.
That was hardcore info that you had on that one. That was hardcore. Yeah, and the song was basically Evil Woman. It was kind of like Evil Woman, don't you stay away from me or something like that. I mean,
I've heard that song.
Yeah.
Now I know. Yeah.
It's like, wow.
That's a good song.
I had no idea there was any issues.
There's an extra song, and people check it out. So if you got the American one, you're missing it, and if you got the overseas one, eventually they allowed it over. It's the jacket that opens with the black interior, and a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, it's interesting. Banned song. Never heard why. No explanation. Who banned it? Why? What? Who does that? We were talking. Dan was saying earlier. Is it the government that made that decision? And why do they have that power to do that? Who gave it? Who gave them the right to say you can't listen to this and you can listen to that? I thought our Constitution was to allow us to do that. What happened?
Yeah. It's funny that
I went political.
As long as you're not yelling fire in a crowded theater, keep your damn mouth shut and out of my business, government.
Or
I mean, within reason. Within reason.
Bomb at the airport. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Don't say bomb at the airport. Come on.
Nobody wants that.
No.
Okay, but Bob's got his answer to that line of that song.
Oh,
You
okay.
pop
Put it up. Put it up, Royce. Let's see that bastard. Lou,
My phone in her hair.
No way. We need that check.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, buddy.
Good one.
Check that.
That's excellent.
My phone in her hair. Wow.
Bob, I hope
That's
you're
a,
telling
that's a
the
hell of
truth,
a
man.
description there.
That you just made my
Well,
night.
now this
I'm gonna
song
put
is
that in a
probably going to
song.
blow everybody's mind because it won a
Oh my
Academy
God.
Award. This song won an Academy Award for the songwriters, and it's called "Baby It's Cold Outside." And we're all familiar with
yes.
Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga singing it together. But some people saw it kind of a description of, let me see, how were they putting this?
It's a sex
Description of
song.
an endorsement of
Just say what it is.
non-consensual sex, an endorsement of non-consensual.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Because
Maybe
because
I'll
he's
be right
kinda,
back.
yeah, he's kind of forcing play.
Yeah.
I got
That-
you.
We'd
that's a
have to
pretty-
have
pretty-
that kind of criticism.
That's a
Sure.
pretty
Yeah,
tame line, baby. It's
yeah,
cold
yeah.
outside.
Right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're in America where Halloween sells schoolgirl outfits to adult women to act like they're God, you know where I'm going with that. Come on.
I know. Yep, I hear you.
Yeah,
Yep,
come on.
Some softies always out there going to get their feelings hurt. Oh, you poor baby.
It's the damn hall monitor that wouldn't let me pee in high school. I remember her.
Grow a pair. You
Come
know,
on, I got a
good
pass.
Lord.
Nope.
Yes.
I got a pass. Nope.
Okay, so
gotta pee.
Dan, have you got a good band or semi-band or tried to be band song?
Oh yeah, here's one which is kind of
Okay.
weird because I don't know if you ever heard of Rupert Holmes.
Yes.
I heard that.
Yes.
Hey,
He wrote that song "If You Love Pina Coladas."
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
great song.
Okay, well he decided
song.
he decided he was wanting to write a song that would get a lot of controversy going.
Okay.
And first of all, that song "Pina Colada," if you listen to the words, it's actually about the guy's cheating on his wife.
Yes.
It's people
She's
think that,
cheating on him too.
yeah, people think it's a vacation song, but it's a cheating song.
They're both
But
cheating
so-
on each other. Yeah.
So there's a band called the Buoys, and he wrote a song for him called Timothy.
Okay.
And it's about three coal miners working in a coal mine. The coal mine collapses. Now they're trapped inside the cave. They're there for days and days. And pretty soon, they're getting hungry. And
Okay.
and only Joe and the other guy comes out. They never found Timothy. So they're
He had a
insinuating.
bone in his hair.
So,
Yeah.
so they're the insinuation of cannibalism.
Right.
And they
right,
never found
right.
Timothy. And a lot of radio stations banned that because of the cannibalism overtone. But
Exactly.
I couldn't resist.
but other radio stations played it, and they charted it.
Oh, shit.
Right.
And I looked into the band, the Buoys. Now the lead singer's still around, and he likes talking about that. As I thought I was going to try to contact him to see if I could get the guy on the show one night.
That's a weird shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
They never mentioned what they did with Timothy. It's all insinuation.
Wow.
That's art though. But okay,
Yeah.
so here's the thing: we're talking about music being banned, but this does go. It's arts. It's the arts. Who looks at one painting and says that painting is a nude woman that's crude and terrible and pornographic, but that one's a beautiful woman. But they're both naked.
Yeah.
So it's all in the phonetics and music.
Yeah.
It's how
Exactly.
you're saying it. It's reading between the lines, like Dan just talked about. They never said what happened to him. That's in your head. You're saying
Right.
that they did that to him.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Lou, as a matter of fact, you bring up a good point. Yesterday's pornography, crude art, drawn on the walls, refound centuries later, is now in museums. Take a look at some of the very crude and pornographic Egyptian and Grecian art from Greek times.
Yeah.
All of it was crude, done by the public, but they found this stuff and now it's in the finest museums in the world. So what is art? What is art?
Well, I don't know. I've got a.
I think it's art. I think it's art.
Yeah,
the
I do
discretion
too.
of the individual of what they see. That is art.
Well, remember all the controversy in the early 70s about pornography with Deep Throat and those other movies came out? Nobody could really define what pornography was outside of child pornography. We all know what that is, but adult situations,
Yeah.
Well, what's pornography to one person may not be pornography to someone else.
Okay, well, in America,
That's
so
right.
those of you who've been to Europe, as I have, and many of us have here, when you're in Europe or in other countries, they complain about how lax we are on our violence in our movies. Our movies are chalk. Our Hollywood movies, man, there's like people dying 50, 100 in a movie. But hey, don't show the guy's dick. you know?
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is, right? One dick, we got to close down the theater. But hey, 50 people get blown away graphically, killed in our movies. Okay.
Well,
In Europe, they're the other way around.
the other way around.
Nudity in their films, but they don't want people getting shot and everything. Now,
Right.
in our country, God darn it, I head political slightly again. It's a mistake. It's an accident. But we got a lot more people shooting each other here than other countries. We got a lot more people doing violence with shooting rapid. Now, I'm not getting into gun control and that crap, but I got to say, it does seem to be.
This show's non-political.
I know it's not political, but it's a coincidence that we have more violence in our films than love or sex and nudity.
Yeah.
But we also have more shooting and people getting
You
killed.
can talk about the sex and nudity all you want.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's something else too. You know, talk about violence and all that, how it's banned. But see, you know, people don't realize when you look back, even in the early 60s on American TV shows, how much violence there was. It wasn't graphic, but there's so much violence. Because I was watching a Rifleman. I was watching a Rifleman the other day,
Dude,
and I thought, how many guys this guy Chuck Connors has killed? 245 people.
John Wayne.
200.
John Wayne flick.
He averaged killing 1 to 3 people every episode. Came to 245.
Well, you know what? And those were very, very different times. I'll never forget the cover of the Sears catalog where Mom and Dad and Johnny and Susie were all holding guns and just beaming to cover the Sears catalog, you know.
Slap your wife.
You know, that's
about, woman.
You'll never see that again. And it's just like you were saying. I mean, there'd be a cowboy and Indian show, and the cowboys would shoot 300 Indians off their horses, you know. And one cowboy might get wounded, right? And all of those shows were that way. We played games. We played all those games out in the streets. The most popular toys for boys anyway were guns.
We had movies with a guy with a chainsaw cutting people apart. Not a problem, but don't say dick in a song.
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna ban that, man. Oh my God! Or don't talk about freedom. We're gonna ban that. But go ahead and salt the schoolgirls outside. They got a flat tire in the ring. You know, that's the bullshit going on. You know,
you guys are about my age or close to it. You know, and there's pictures of me when I was 1.5 years old at Christmas time, wearing my holster and got my gun. You know,
cap guns.
Yeah, cap guns. Yeah. You know, anybody that, you know, when you smell, you know, anytime I smell, you know, somebody pop a cap,
right,
brings back childhood memories.
Absolutely. Same here, Dan.
Trying to kill each other.
That was the most popular thing to do for the young kids, was outside playing.
We played Army,
robbers, cowboys and Indians, you name it. Army soldiers.
Well, talk about things getting scrubbed off the internet. I read David Bowie's book. I was a big David Bowie fan, so I'd love to read about him. I read about Led Zeppelin and their great book. And one of the things Bowie had in 1969, I'll never forget this. I was alive for that as a kid. I was 6 years old when our rocket, I was so proud of America, man. We took off to head to the moon. Remember that, guys? Right. It was on every damn TV. There were only 3 channels, but they were on. And I remember I was in the Philippines at the time, and I was so proud when I walked in the Makati market and I saw a Time magazine with the guy. Remember the famous space suit, and we saw the American flag. But here's where I'm going with this. The song that was played when that rocket took off was Space Oddity by Major Tom. And back then, you didn't have to ask permission. So in Bowie's book, the original book, Bowie's like sitting there. He hears it for the first time. He's watching it, and he hears his song as this rocket takes off, an American rocket. We got a British song going on it. Ground control, Major Tom, right? And he's like sitting there, and he thinks to himself, didn't they not listen to the lyrics? It's a song about a junkie. And if you think about it, and if you know what it is. So later on, he writes Ashes to Ashes, which even says in the song. Remember that song about Major Tom? He was a junkie. And he said he was blown away that America, a place that was so strict, because he was a big fan of Lennon, did not catch that and didn't understand that. And so my point is this, you know, where there's that thing where it's at the discretion of the individual what they want to hear or what they want to see. And what we need to do is allow people to see what they want to see. That's America. At least it used to be. Or that's what we want it to be. Right?
You know, and that's a real popular song with the space agency too, because one of the space station astronauts sang it on board the space station.
First song ever played live
And also SpaceX, when they launched the Tesla, that's a song they played when they released the Tesla into space.
So here's the scrubbing, Dan. Do you know if you look it up now, you cannot find that he ever said that? It actually says it isn't about that, and it never was about some woman. And it was like, you read it, you're like, what? The lyrics don't match up at all with what they're saying about it. Check it out when you do a research on what Major Tom's up. He's passed away now, so he's got no way to speak about it. They've scrubbed that shit. And if you don't think they scrub stuff, I start screenshotting because I've seen things vanish so much. Stories are changing online, folks, and they're changing history. It's not true. You can't be alert out there, and watch out. In the arts and artists out there, you guys need to have the balls like the guys in the 60s and 70s had, and start saying your mind again and not being scared about, ooh, I'm going to not be popular. Because if you're listening to the panel right now, just the opposite happened. When these musicians stood up and took that sticker on their album or said what they believed in, John, after saying he was more popular than God, even though it was taken out of context, is still one of the greatest artists today, if not even more listened to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, but now here's another thing. You know, when we start talking about this, is one thing that I feel exists today that didn't exist back in our day, guys, is the cancel culture aspect to the general audience. Okay? I lost Lou. Ground control to Lou. But
you're gonna bring this
serious. But well, it needs to be said because Lou. The reason I even bring it up is because of what you said. Was, you know, artists, you need to start telling us what you think. Well,
yep, I do believe that.
Here's a reason why I think a lot of them aren't and don't feel free to do that. And is that a new challenge that some of the new bands need to start looking at now? Is, oh, wait a minute. We, you know, like a lot of comedians these days, they can't just say what's on their mind anymore, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
What do we do with crap? Because I'm here to tell you, that's crap. What do we do with crap like that? As rock fans, as people interested in discovering new music, are we going to stand for this crap? You know?
Yeah.
You know what's?
I don't know. It's kind of weird today. People aren't standing up for hardly anything. I mean, take the. I'll throw a song out real quick, Lou. Then I'll give it back to you. But take the song Van Morrison's "Brown Eyed Girl." We gave that song to our granddaughter Alexis, our oldest granddaughter. Betty did. It was like, this is your song, you know, Brown Eyed Girl. You know, you'd think of that as a sweet, innocent song, but it does have that one line in it, making love in the green grass. And because of that, a lot of radio stations refuse to play it. You know?
I know.
Why?
That's just, I don't know.
Why? Because they're guilty
making
of the
love
damn
in the green
same thing.
grass. I mean, that's pretty risque, you know?
I
mean, was doing that instead of whatever's happening in the Middle East at a particular moment.
Yeah.
The world might be just a little. Oh, wait a minute. I'm starting to sound like John Lennon. I'm sorry.
and you'll be today. John Lennon would have been chastised for what he said, even more so, in my opinion.
And in my opinion, he'd open his mouth even more. Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we need more of. That's what we need more of, because you know what? So it's a slippery slope, and here's the slippery slope. I personally, I'm going to use comedy that Dan brought up. I love Robin Williams. But when Robin Williams got political, I didn't dig him as much. I thought he was funnier when he wasn't doing politics.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understood why.
I feel that about everybody.
Bono from U2. Man, just sing, right? He used his platform put to politics. I don't dig it, but I understand why. Sometimes I get it. If you believe in something enough, go ahead and use your platform. I was just looking at, what's his name? Russell Brand? Russell Brand.
Yeah.
He's got his Brand, whatever, the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Long black.
Yeah, Russell Brand.
Shadow.
Yeah. He's from England. Yeah, or England or Australia. I'm not sure.
Whatever, but he's doing a lot of American shit. He's talking about us right now. He's got his own YouTube channel. I've been checking it out.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he does, and he does it daily right now. And he's he's nailing everybody. He's not just hammering Democrats, or he does them both. He just hammers both, and he's ballsy because he's not even from here, right?
Yeah.
But he's doing it. He's got more balls than our musicians have. Our musicians could take a look at his channel. You know what? If that's what you believe in, go for it. Don't be so afraid. Don't puss out.
Well, did anybody see that movie that Russell Brand was in? It was some kind of couples retreat.
Yeah,
where he was teaching the yoga.
Something about Mary.
There were some funny scenes in that.
Something about Mary. Was that the one?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Something like
not talking about Mary, but it's some kind of couples retreat. That three.
Yeah. He was great.
It was hilarious.
So he's risking his career right now doing what he's doing, but he believes in it so much that he's continuing with it, and that's okay if that's his thing. Now, taking that into your music, you got to be really careful. I say, you know what? Stick to your music. The 60s were different. They a lot, CCR went after that stuff. That was a different time. It's like Michael just said, hey, we're split though. You can't get away with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But you can still do your thing, be an artist, and still speak your mind. And I don't think, you know what, people, if your artist says something you don't agree with, then just dig his music. You don't have to dig the person that's behind the music to like the sound.
Yeah, but it's not just, see, those artists, they would mix their art, which was the song, all right, their music, with perhaps their ideologies that often changed, especially if you're talking about John Lennon. His next interview, he might be apologizing for what he said. I love that. In the interview before that. But here's the deal. I say total freedom for artistic expression, except I don't want to hear excuse my language, I don't want to hear Bono sit here and tell me how to freaking live. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to freaking hear it. And I don't want to hear it at his damn concerts.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it.
Right.
But Bono, if you've got something really cool to say and you mix it into one of your pieces, you'll have Michael Nolan's attention a hell of a lot longer than you will pounding your ass off on stage about whatever new Green Deal thingy about you want to talk about,
I'm going to make a custom book for you, Michael. I'm going to get like a Seuss book. And it's going to be like, I don't like Bono in a train. I don't like Bono in the rain.
Hey, well,
I love you too. I love him as a singer.
I don't like Bono with my hand.
Yeah. I've got one for everybody. Blondie, 1991, did the song Atomic. And during the Gulf War, it got banned. And in reality, it had nothing to do with weaponry. It had to do with arousal. Not bombs, but arousal. Atomic.
Blondie was arousing. She was like the sexiest dirty girl at that time. Her look was sloppy and everything. Everybody was perfect back then as much as they could.
Right.
There's been Blondie, the hair's kind of set. What are you doing? You're doing the Heart of Glass. I fell in love with her immediately. I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah.
Fun fact about Blondie, off Parallel Lines, do you know that she has the credit for the very first #1 hit, get this, rap song?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Probably.
Rapture is considered the first #1. Sorry, my black brothers. It's a white woman. She got the #1. Fab Five.
Yeah, no, she did.
Though, on the, that's true. Look at that, folks. Ain't making that shit up.
I know she made I know she made an impression. She made an impression with
that song. Made an impression on me too.
She made a big impression on me because first time I ever saw her was on the Midnight Special, and she's wearing a blue tube top. I went,
yes,
oh
I
wow!
Saw that. it was like a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
And they said she was doing she had the nip thing on.
My problem was I was a newlywed at the time. My wife wanted to know why I kept watching that tape over and over.
The second probably to that one, as far as shocking boobish type stuff, has got to go to Dale Bazio's, Terry's wife, in Missing Persons when she showed up at the US Festival.
Oh, the bubbles,
the plastic cups, and the duct tape. Remember that?
Yeah.
Epic. I was like, what are words for? What's happening, my brain? Hey, young guys,
I'll tell you,
check that
another one
that's
kind of a standout as far as band songs was George Michael's "I Want Your Sex." which was kind of a graphic tribute to his hedonistic lifestyle.
Well, we knew. And then what happened next?
As everybody on the block always knew.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
There was
Right.
even those-
Right.
You know, it's like what happened to Pee Wee Herman, man. Reuben Scott. That was such bullshit. He just got the Disney contract. Reuben Scott was at the Comedy Store in L.A. making fun of children's shows. He had mere shoes in the show, going under skirts of women. That was part of his show. Yes, and then he gets hired for Saturday morning TV, making fun. That same character. Look it up. So he's doing Pee Wee. So he's in Florida visiting his parents. Decides I'm a little horny. I'm going to go masturbate. So what does he do? He goes to an adult bookstore to get out of the parents' house. So my question is this: who's the cop in the other booth that busts Pee Wee at an adult bookstore masturbating? Right?
Yeah.
Who is the masturbating?
Well, wasn't he in like a? Didn't they catch him in like theaters and stuff too?
No, he was in a booth masturbating at an adult bookstore. That was his crime that ruined his career. All right, man. If I were to get arrested for masturbating, I would have been in big trouble years ago. I should be in Sing Sing. We all
life sentence.
We should have a death penalty. This is bullshit, you know. So that's the crap I'm talking about.
How would you like to be the cop that's assigned to that gig? They go, I'm going where?
I see a Pee Wee. My eye. I am so much trouble. This shit's gonna look good on my resume, though.
Well, you know, I got another one to throw out. God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols. It got banned. It went to number 2 on the charts in England, but it got banned by the Independent Broadcasting Authority from being played at all because his listeners accused the BBC of fixing the charts to prevent the Sex Pistols from landing in the top spot. So that was kind of political. That was kind of political.
Of course it was.
Well, you don't insult the Queen.
You don't need more punk.
No, I think that would be a mistake in England.
Yeah.
Punk, in my opinion, was our garage rock. We used to have garage rock.
Right.
What's it? God, I just went blank. The drummer from Nirvana. God, he's famous as hell. Sorry, Dave.
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl talks about. Sorry, Dave. He talks about that. He talks about, you know what? We need to get back to the days where 4 dudes are jamming in a garage as loud as they can. That's the shit right there. That's how bands are made. That's how real bands are made. I'm not being an old dude saying that. That's just a fact. You're not going to get the music over the computers like this. You're not going to do it from a long distance. You got to get together, guys. Get back in those garages, make some noise, and do it earlier instead of waiting to rent a place later on in your 20s.
Yeah.
So we need that back.
Yeah. Where the hell do you think all these fabulous bands that you're listening to today, for the most part, you know, we had a few super groups like Zeppelin and all of that, but the Beatles were a garage band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So the Stones technically were too, man. And Rage Against the Machine. We can go later on too. A lot of these bands. Pearl Jam for you 90s people. Pearl Jam was a garage band up there, man.
Oh yeah.
Eddie was washing cars 2 months before they hit it big.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's true. Boston was even not that big.
Yeah. You know? Speaking of Rage Against the Machine, did you hear about their incident that happened the other night? They were on stage performing, and an overzealous fan jumps up on the stage. I guess was running over towards the guitar player. Security jumps up, runs across stage, dives for the guy on stage, misses and tackles the guitar player and thrown off stage.
Okay,
wow.
Okay, so that's news to me. And I just saw the Cult. The Cult's making their rounds right now. I posted it on my page. The singer of the Cult jumped in on a fight. Dave Grohl last year had to jump in. So, folks, this is the shit going on right now. This is a weird thing that didn't happen in shows that I've ever been at. There are more fights happening all of a sudden at shows, and they're happening right in the front, too, which is really bizarre. The Cult singer, and if you guys haven't seen it, you can go to my Facebook. It's on my Facebook page. Fight starts right in the middle of one of their biggest songs. Happens right in front of him, and he drops and jumps into the crowd. Big dude gets in his face. He's got the guy was what do you call that when you throw somebody chokehold him?
Yeah.
Chokeholding someone in the crowd. So here's what I like
Wow.
about this. Musicians, though, aren't putting up with that shit right now. If they're looking down and they see you fighting in a crowd right now, they're not waiting for the bouncers to handle it. They're getting down there, and they're like, no fighting, dude. Show has stopped. Anybody fights, the show has stopped. I like that. I'm actually for that.
Robert Plant did something like that when I saw him in concert back in 1977. I saw him about the middle of June. So people are already buying their fireworks, and they brought their fireworks to the show. And at the San Diego Sports Arena, there were fold-out bleachers. I mean, it kind of came out of the side of the arena. Well, underneath them, if you get underneath them, there's nothing under there. Someone had a whole bunch of firecrackers, and they light a row of firecrackers, toss them, run down the bleachers, light another, so you could see all the fireworks going. Then they got a string up and threw them up on stage right at Robert Plant, and they were popping all around him. They stopped the show, and he said, if that happens one more time, he said, the show's over. Suddenly, every person that paid for a ticket there was looking for somebody with fireworks.
Yeah.
I fucking dare you.
There's been dickheads doing that with those little lasers. They're pointing the little lasers at people, the lead singers, while they're trying to sing at their eyes, which first off is damaging to the person's eyes. You hit a retina with a laser, it's a bad thing. And then why the fuck are you at a show trying to put a laser in one of the musicians you just paid $100 a beat for? It happened to Kiss. It happened to the guy that used to be the Metallica band. He's gonna be mad that he did that one. What's his name? Seen him anyways. Hey.
Well, Gloria just mentioned too that Kid Rock show was canceled and the fans trashed the venue.
Oh yeah,
that's not cool.
Well, that's not cool.
We're back to cancel culture on that. First off, I'm from the land of the show.
See, everybody got permission. You can burn down a police station. You can burn down a post office. Everything's cool. So let's bring that to rock concerts. Yeah. Welcome, morons, all of you.
Yeah. You're ruining the show for everyone.
Well, I got another one. I've got to bring up the Who's My Generation, because what Roger Daltrey was like, stuttering on certain words like fade away.
Oh yeah.
And he got in trouble for stuttering because it was offending people that stuttered.
Oh yeah, they did.
And it wasn't until that song became a huge hit that the BBC finally allowed it to be played.
And they didn't even get it.
That stuttering. Oh my God.
Stuttering the F word. Why don't you all fade away?
Yeah. No, just fade away. That's like insane, man.
Yeah.
Well, they just got the wrong band.
Don't forget what they were pissing on the front cover of their album.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on.
Public urination.
Yeah, piss on it. Well, anyways, hey, we went way beyond our hour, did we not? I mean, I'm almost out of whiskey.
Well, no, I know. You know what? We got a late start, though. I don't mind it running over a little bit to make up for that. I had to cancel the show both on StreamYard and YouTube and restart it. And I'll probably have to go into YouTube when we're done and add some things, all my hashtags, and put it in the right category, podcasts and different things. But, we also had Money for Nothing spark controversy from the moment by Dire Straits released because of the lyrics and the homophobic. Let's see. Deemed that the message is homophobic due to the use of the slur that starts with F and ends with T. The Canadian Broadcast Council banned it from being played by radio stations. So it is their most commercially successful song, Money. Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. I actually really like that song too.
So why didn't The Wall get banned? I mean, the entire album was political, yet they would nitpick. So this nitpicking going on, if you're not good, I mean, and then Breakfast in America, Supertramp, if you actually listen to the song, it's bashing America. The entire album. It's a fantastic album. But it's bashing America.
No, it is. And I don't get it.
We're all like, we bought the shit out of the thing, not realizing they were laughing at us while they wrote those songs. I mean, you listen, read the lyrics, folks.
Okay. This has been talked about forever. And it's one of the reasons why we all love Sgt. Pepper's. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
LSD.
LSD, right?
What do you think, Royce? Was it LSD or not?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And they were hanging out with that Bar Reacher guy and shit, Huh?
Dan, were you in on this? Are you LSD or not? Was it about? What do you think?
Oh, definitely LSD.
Yeah, no,
So
that
we have
whole
two-
album was about drug use.
All right,
you know.
I'm either the tie or the breaker. Let me think. Lucy's guy. I think it's LSD.
Yeah.
And
Well,
nowadays,
here's the deal.
Nowadays you got bands like that Billy Blair's in, LSD.
Picture yourself on a boat on a- What? How about that Yellow
Is
Custard?
I really do believe John when he says no.
That's
I based it on what a painting by Julia. He didn't. I think John Lennon actually didn't get it when he named that song. And
Really?
also, here's an unknown fact by a lot of casual fans: Paul McCartney wrote half of those lyrics.
Yes,
in
yes,
that
he did.
song.
Not
He's the
always
one that
half,
came
but-
up with "Newspaper taxis appear on the shore." That's his line. So, but by that point, he had already done LSD. So what do you
Yeah.
do with
right.
Well, when you got two
Well,
guys,
that was that era. Timothy Leary was.
I'm going to let Michael believe that.
It might have just barely been banned at the time, but it was also the BBC banned "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" along with "The Day in the Life."
It's a great
Found my way
song, no matter
found
what.
my
It
way
doesn't-
downstairs
that's the
and
shit, though.
had
It
a
doesn't matter.
Spoke. Somebody spoke, and I went into a dream. I mean, it was pretty clearly it was all about getting stoned. That album.
But here's the thing, though. John was asked all the time about what his lyrics were about, and my favorite thing about John Lennon was in almost any interview, he would say, "What does it mean to you?" And that is a fantastic answer. He was a brilliant dude, and that's a great answer because it really doesn't matter. He wasn't writing for himself. That was his point.
Right.
And that's true art, and that's why that dude was so badass.
That's right.
a lot of McCartney lyrics, if you read them, very confusing. I mean, they could be word salads.
He's trying too hard.
It's like, what does that mean? It's
When
like
I'm 64. Paul just needs a bow tie. I'm getting so much trouble on this show.
It's just a lot of songs that they at least tried to ban. Like, what was it? Peter, Paul, and Mary's "Puff the Magic Dragon."
Oh,
everybody was convinced that was about getting high, and Peter, Paul, and Mary swore it had nothing to do with drugs and getting high. But the esteemed Spiro Agnew, Richard Nixon's vice president, was doing everything he could to get that song banned.
Was it Purple Blue Persuasion claimed to be acid as well? Because there actually was an acid called Purple Blue Persuasion. Crimson and Clover was supposed to be something about tripping, But that was the period. That's like saying,
sure that
oh my
wasn't
God, the
Purple
70s
Double
were about
Dome?
the Hobbit.
You sure that wasn't Purple Double Dome? Anyway, Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze. I mean, come on. There's not much that leaves nothing to the imagination there.
Hey, Royce, I haven't heard anybody mention Purple Double Dome in years.
Well, there was orange and there was purple.
That was Orange Barrel, I think.
That explains Dan's background. So here's the thing, though. So they're getting all upset about these songs with LSD, maybe Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. But meanwhile, we got Eric Clapton going cocaine. So why is that? Why is it? There we are again, right? He's
I
blatantly saying
didn't find anything
cocaine.
about that being banned. That's a great
He's saying
song.
cocaine.
Too.
Never got banned.
But there's about 10 years difference between those songs too.
Got a point.
And cocaine, you can tell in the lyrics. It's a song that's saying, "Man, you don't want to get messed up with this baby.
You don't want to have sex all night on this drug."
So, but the song is actually, I could see them saying, "This is actually a moralistic song." Even,
wow, that's a brilliant. That's a brilliant spin, and that's probably what happened, Michael. You're probably right because he goes, "You're down on the ground, cocaine." But what about? Wait a minute, Grateful Dead, didn't they do right?
But it also says if you want to hang out, you have to. If you want to hang out, you have to take her out. Cocaine.
Cocaine. Well, yeah. You got coke, you can take her away from her husband. That's what I heard. But anyways, back to this. Yeah, but Grateful Dead, high on cocaine, right? Riding that train high on cocaine, they got away with it too.
Oh, that's true. That was back in the 60s. Yeah.
Okay, so not banned. Not all the, I don't understand why certain bands get targeted and others slip under. I don't get that. That's all I'm saying. What is the process and who makes this process and where can we find it so we can look at the list before I make my next album, because hey, I sure don't want to piss people off.
Well, did the Grateful Dead get much radio play?
Probably not as much, and that's part of it. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, it's just like with Pantera. Pantera had radio airplay on a few of their songs, but the majority of their catalog, you won't never catch it on the radio. But look how popular they were, even without the radio. So they could pretty much say what they wanted to say. Who's going to shut them off?
Point made. So if you're okay with not getting the radio, is what you guys are saying, then
pretty much underground radio. If you do it that way.
Yeah. I'm not exaggerating when I say when I moved to Long Beach, California in 1971 from Las Vegas, that Grateful Dead song, Driving That Train High on Cocaine, played at least 10 times a day. I mean, that must have been the most popular song in the land at the time.
The only song I like from those guys was I like that song they did, Going to Hell in a Bucket, but at least I'm enjoying the ride. That was a groovy line. I dug that. I wasn't a big Grateful Dead fan, but when I heard that song, I'm like, that's a good song.
Grateful Dead were very liberal with their recordings. I've been to a lot of shows where no recording devices allowed. Grateful Dead didn't care. Bring your recorder.
Way ahead.
Just
way ahead of their time on that.
I know Deadheads who went from concert to concert, and they traded cassettes back and forth. I mean, this was like the club, guys.
Right. Yeah. No, they were Deadheads.
They're considered the world's greatest jam band, and I have to agree with that. I'm not a major Deadhead fan, but man, what they do is just the best of what they do.
Or what they did.
Right.
Or did. Yeah.
I don't think anybody's picked that up.
Yeah.
Nobody's picked up their spot.
Well, I thought it was interesting that back in the day before Woodstock, Santana opened for Grateful Dead. Santana didn't have a single album out when they played Woodstock and just tore the roof off the place.
There's a lot of that going on.
One of the things every time I went to San Francisco, I used to like to hang out at Haight-Ashbury, and if you go to Haight-Ashbury, you got to go check the Deadhead house. You can't go inside, but just that's where they were. That was so cool to see that.
If you want to see a travel vlog about Haight-Ashbury, go to my channel.
Oh yeah,
and look under tours of famous places, and I have a travel vlog on Haight-Ashbury.
A great video. Royce really does it up good.
Thank you.
Looks at old rock posters in some of the shops.
Oh yeah, yes I did. Yeah, I did.
It's great. Yeah,
they were great posters. Yeah, they had tons of them. I need to go back there and get some of those.
We used to always stop these little hippie girls out on Haight-Ashbury, and they make these little hip bracelets. My wife loved those hip bracelets, and they'd sit there and make it right there on the street for you.
Right.
Hey Dan, where do I get some of those little hippie girls? Little hippie girls.
Well, I finally made it to Haight-Ashbury kind of at the tail end around 71 because the Summer of Love. Some people use 69 for the Summer of Love, but in Haight-Ashbury, the signs all over the place. 67 was the Summer of Love. So somewhere between 67 and 69 was the Summer of Love.
There's a two-story bar.
67 is the Summer of Love, man. That was with the release of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. That is solid into historical. Yeah. 67.
That was an amazing
two-story
album.
bar not far off of Haight-Ashbury, where they've got the top stories like a donut. In other words, you can look down into the first.
Okay.
They've got a seat up there where Bob Dylan used to hang out. And they got it's like a shrine. Yeah, it's got all his pictures there because he used to sit there apparently and hang out, and that's where he would write.
That's great.
I went there because of that. It's badass. When you go there and you go upstairs and you sit, you can totally see why it's the best seat in the house. You see out a window, tell San Francisco this way. You see all the art. You can see everybody that's in the place from that seat downstairs.
Well, I have he used to be my next door neighbor, Pete. And I've been trying to get him on the show, and he wants to come on the show. He just had, he's 9 years older than me, and he had an operation recently and had a little stroke afterward and stuff like that. He wants to come on the show, but what an interesting guy. He grew up in San Francisco. All his friends were watermen. They all surfed. They all dove, fished, and when he moved up here, he had a 37-foot sailboat. He traded the house for it. That's how much the sailboat was worth at one time. And we used to sail out to the Channel Islands, and we'd go out We'd sell to the ranch to go surfing, sell to the Channel Islands to go surfing. This boat was magnificent. He sold it to Hawaii and back twice.
Oh,
and
nice.
many times down to Cabo San Lucas. And he was quite a character, though. You could get in trouble with this guy. He was getting in a lot of trouble in high school. And his dad was career military, so he joined the military. Well, all of his friends joined the Hells Angels. And when he got out, he became a cop, a San Francisco police officer, and all his friends were the Hells Angels, you know. And one of his best friends was in the Oakland chapter and helped Sonny Barger organize all the chapters under one banner. You know, the colors and everything was, you know, unified. And those guys used to come down to see him, you know, and wearing their colors and stuff. And he'd call me, Royce, where the hell were you? I go, I'm at work. Why? He goes, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I said, well, what's going on? He goes, well, Fuki and the boys came down from the Oakland club and we all went out to sushi. And I called you. I wanted you to go. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. I go, God damn, I missed it about 3 times because I was working. And he said, you know, we'd walk into the Carlton, which is a really nice restaurant, but it also had a sushi bar. He said, walk in and ladies like drop their glass out of their hands onto the floor when they saw the Hells Angels walk in with their colors on.
Wow.
But we used to travel down to Mexico to go surfing and stuff like that. But I guess the real story was Pete worked his way into undercover for a while, and he was undercover cop, and they would send him to the Golden Gate Park, where the Grateful Dead, Santana, Janis Joplin, all those great mid-'60s bands were playing for free, and everybody there was stoned out of their mind. And Pete's job was supposedly to
Timothy Leary
to buy drugs and from somebody, and then try to find out who that guy's dealer was, kind of a thing. But Pete would get so high when he got there. even we go down to Mexico surfing. And the first guy, local guy he saw, he'd go running at him, going like this and pulling his wallet out. Wanting to know if the guy'd go into town to get him some weed. And the guy would.
All those guys were everywhere.
Oh,
Tell
yeah.
your friend, we knew you guys were there the whole time. I mean, you know, at Winterland, they were all.
We knew who the narcs were.
I remember. I remember your friend.
We called him. He's a narc. Johnny's a narc. All right.
No, you almost had to develop a sixth sense.
But this guy has got so many good stories that as soon as he's feeling better, I'd like to get him on the show and have him as a guest and have him tell stories about those concerts he went to and all the crazy stuff that took place. You know,
bring him on. Bring him on.
Yeah, I'd like to
chastise him right here live.
And he has connections where with the Hells Angels and
absolutely.
History with them. You know what, Royce? We talked about '67 being the Summer of Love, and '69 and the Hells Angels and the Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah,
known as the year that killed any hope of the Summer of Love.
Concert where the Stones
Pleased
hired
to
the
meet
Hells
you.
Angels to be security.
That would be a great whole show right there. What was the Summer of Love till '69?
Right.
What happened? You know,
right,
what happened?
right.
During Sympathy of the Devil.
I've seen the video, and I can't remember what concert it was. It might have been the Monterey Pop where Hendrix was playing. He lit a guitar on fire.
Yeah, it was.
Lit a guitar on fire and broke it up and threw it off stage. And I'll never forget. I've seen that video a dozen times.
The whole story behind
some guy with long blonde hair leaps up off the ground and grabs it out of the air and is just showing it off and stuff. And I met this semi-homeless guy, you know, with still a little bit of blonde hair left. He was moving into this little house behind my friend's house, and we started talking about music. And he goes, "Hey, did you ever see the video of that guy that caught Hendrix's guitar?" And I go, "Yes, many times." Why? He goes, "That was me." And I swear to God, I almost died of a heart attack on the spot, thinking that this guy that's like living the way he's living, you know.
In a van?
You had to see the place he was moving into, which is probably an upgrade from where he left. I said, "Do you still have it?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, I still have it." I go, "I'd love to see it. Where is it?" And he goes, "Oh, it's down in the place in Arroyo Grande I'm moving out of." I go, would you ever think about, you know, trading it for something? Or he goes, you know, I was dying inside. This was like the holy grail, you know. If I got a hold of that, I'd retire. You know what I mean?
I'll take the guitar, you know, but you can have this house.
And you know what? After he told me that, I had this picture in my mind of the guy that jumped up and caught it and kind of showed it to everybody, and I knew that he was telling me the truth. That was him, you know.
You know, not near as big, but back in '91, I had a contract when I had one of my first sponsorships with drumsticks. Of course, couldn't fit my name on the stick, which is why it's Lou Mars to this day. But that's another story. But the contract was I get a dozen of these pairs a month, and I had to throw them out, the broken ones, at the end of the concert, or right whatever point. So we're at the end of the show, and I believe it was Missouri, and you're standing at the big stage theater. I went, whoo! I did a sidearm, shoom, and I see it bounce off top of the head of one person. This other guy catches it, an amazing catch. I get out of the theater at the end of the night.
Hey guys, I've got to boogie, man.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
Hold on, Michael.
Okay, Michael, we really appreciate you coming on. I'm so glad you're looking good. You're sounding good.
Long story short,
sounds like you're healing outside. Great.
Hold on.
Thanks for being here.
Hold on. Long story short, guys outside. I got your stick, and the person next to him's like, and it bounced off my head. But yeah, let's wrap this up. We should have been.
Okay, well, wait. Before we do, I just gotta ask Daddy Boggs a question. Daddy Boggs, there's a song on the Beach Boys album Pet Sounds that they tried to ban. Tell us what that song was. You're the biggest Beach Boys fan I know. We're all Beach Boys fans.
Next show, or put it in the comments. We gotta go.
Okay, all right. So you guys don't want me to find it in my notes and tell you then, huh?
Go for it.
You gotta do quick.
Only if I hurry. Okay. Well, it wasn't.
The battery goes dead, Bryce. So go.
Same as mine.
If I disappear, you'll know why.
I just hit the button when you saw me push the screen. It was my battery going out.
Okay. Well, you know what, guys? I don't even know where it's at this point. So the only thing that's going to save us is Daddy Boggs. What song on Pet Songs, Beach Boys Pet Songs, did they try to ban?
Ike song, huh?
I sucked at Jeopardy.
Jeff,
when he started writing with Van Dyke, was it Van Dyke?
No, it wasn't Tom Charles Manson's song. That's an interesting answer, Jeff. That's a whole nother topic.
Do you know the answer to this, Royce?
Well, there's Daddy Bog. There we go.
Oh, what we got? Brian had song, Hang On to Your Ego, and they changed the name.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that was the one, Eddie. I mean, if anybody knows, you would. Thank you very much.
Let go my that a Van Dyke composition? I'd like to know that.
What was that question again, Michael?
I'd be interested if that was, when Brian started writing with the last name is Van Dyke, the guy he was.
Yeah.
Daddy Boggs, do you know anything about that? Was that Brian and Van Dyke who wrote that song?
Real esoteric.
Like a freaking encyclopedia, man.
I don't know. That song sounds.
Certainly not. Because I can't remember if that was.
Yeah, that song sounds, suspiciously close to, Let Go My Ego.
Yeah, ego. He just should have added a G. He would have been a billionaire.
All right, guys. So we're going to sign off. I've had a really fun time tonight, and we got something really, really special for you. Something extra added for next week that everybody's really, really going to enjoy. I'm not going to say anything about it right now. Maybe something will come up during. Look at Lou. Maybe something will come up during the week about it, and there'll be some publicity on it. But it's going to be really extra special for next week. And this was a great show. I want to thank all our friends in the chat. I mean, we wouldn't be here without you. You guys are fantastic. We really appreciate you. Really appreciate everybody that comes on the show. And that's what's going on in Royce's world tonight. Thank you all very, very much.
Thanks, guys.
And we are ending the broadcast.